Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Daily Revelations. Thanks for joining me. And just as we're diving into God's Word every day. So we're moving through the Bible on to Genesis 35 today. And what really struck me in this chapter and why I want to kind of highlight this is just something that is important for us to remember about places where we have had conflict, had issues. Oftentimes those are places that we want to run away from. We don't want to return to them because the memories are too painful, or we just would rather forget them than deal with them. But that's not how God works. God works in a very different way, and he works to restore those places, not bury them. And there's a difference between the two. And so I want to dive into that a little bit, because what Jacob's story is about restoration and God's ability to restore a place in his past to bring him to the present and to make that a place of healing instead, and a place that he can move on from. Because too often when we get in places where we are not dealing with things of our past, it makes us stuck. And it makes everything that we move into in our current life and into our future stuck places as well, because we're dealing with what happened back here over and over again and not restoring it and healing it. So the story of Jacob. So Jacob took off. He had stolen his brother's birthright and he was gone. And God met him in this place, and he basically said, and this is what I talked about previously, was he said, if you return me to this place, then I will follow you. Well, God did return him to that place, and that's what Genesis 35 is about, is he brought his entire family back to this place, Bethel. And God met with him again there. And God brought up those memories of when he was there before and all the turmoil that was going on with his life. And it's been proven that when we bring up memories, that we don't deal with something in the past, we actually bring it to the present. And however we deal with that situation, whatever our mindset is, and whatever we bring into that from our current state and our new viewpoint, we can actually rebuild those memories and shed a new light on them. And so that's really what God was doing with Jacob, is he was showing him that this isn't a place that's in your past. This is something that I'm doing now with you. And I want you to remember, these are the promises that I made to you then, and they still hold true now. And I want to restore your life that was in turmoil back then. And I want you to realize how much that I want you to be at peace right now with that past event, because I've restored it, I've healed it. And so Jacob set up a pillar and he worshiped God in that place. So when we have things that we are dealing with in our past, and maybe we haven't dealt with them in the best way because we have so much pain and hurt in them, the key is to bringing God into those places, to bringing his truth into those places, to asking him about what he sees, what is his perspective of that thing that happened in our life. Sometimes it takes us going to those places, but if we are in a place of peace in our lives and we bring up those things of our past and we can mesh them with God's story, there is a place where they can be healed, because we We don't leave them as they were. We actually recreate that memory, and we recreate it from a different mindset, and that's where the healing takes place. I wrote in my notes that we set a pillar up. We set our eyes on God. We see our circumstances from long ago in a new light, the light of truth. And sometimes when we're in those dark places of our lives, we have a very much a tunnel vision from our own perspective. And that's hard because as a victim, you have that tunnel vision for protection. But over time, in order to heal that memory, you need to let go of that tunnel vision. And you need to allow God's story to come into that as well, because that's only where the healing is going to come. Our tunnel vision doesn't allow that to happen. But there is healing and restoration. And so setting a pillar means setting a marker. And I used to give my testimony with road signs because those were places I had put markers as to how God had been working in my life. And a lot of, I look back, and a lot of the road signs I used in my younger life were warning signs. And they weren't happy places and happy memories. But as I gave my testimony every time and relived those and brought God's truth and restoration into those and spoke his word as I was talking about those memories, they healed. And so that's something that I just encourage you to do is if there's a place of unrest and an unhealed memory, an unhealed past, to go back to those places, but equipped with truth to pour into them, and to ask God to give you a new perspective of just how he works, and how he just is in that place, and how he calls you to claim it for him and not for what our enemy wanted to claim it for, to destroy you, because God does not want to do that. He wants to heal you, and he wants to use those things in your life to make you stronger. But we have to rest in him and his promises in order to do that, not on our own, because on our own we will fail. So anyways, return for restoration. And those places will become places of healing. And they will be restored over time, because God is the healer and he is the great physician, and he desires to do that in our hearts. So have a great day, everybody. And I'll see you again tomorrow on Daily Revelations. Thanks for joining me.